Coming to you live from Duskmantle, House of Shadow on the plane of Ravnica, this is Tap Tap Concede. Good day, or evening, or whatever kind of cycle of perpetual twilight you might be on. I'm Cameron.
And I'm Nelson, and I think the Demir like to vogue.
I
imagine them voguing, right?
Yeah,
it's like
either that or it's very like, if you've ever seen Antiquity Goths dance at a club, where they don't touch each other.
Oh, okay, but they move around a bunch? Maybe it's like that. I'm just imagining like maybe one of the ways to like magically turn yourself invisible is just to vogue, like strike a pose, and then you keep it, and then like passing by, people think you're a statue.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe there's just
but
a
also
generally
you're a wizard,
agreed upon thing on Ravnica where everyone pretends not to notice the Demir.
Yeah, that's right. Even though they keep getting like found out and like, you know, a whole generation is exposed to the reality of the Demir, then their kids are like, what do you mean, Grandpa? Like, no, there's no 10th guild.
Yeah, it's like the Jedi in Star Wars, where it's like, you know, all the Imperial officers who probably would have like been in positions of command during the Clone Wars when Jedi were leading like armies of clones are just like, the ancient religion you speak of is complete fabrication. Nobody believes in that, Lord Vader, right?
Also,
it's like General Moti, you were there.
Also, the colors of magic are like true within the fiction of magic, right? Like the fact that there are colors of magic. So you think the pattern recognition would be like there's a pair of every color.
Yeah,
except this one color.
That's
blue weird,
black,
right?
Yeah, I wonder why nobody ever does that. We should start up a blue-black business.
Maybe we could have a blue-black, like, you know, community, a little union.
Yeah,
of blue-black.
Yeah,
magic.
some kind of assembly, maybe, or perhaps a commune.
We should thank our sponsors.
We should. Tap Tap Concede is brought to you by the fine people over at cardkingdom.com. cardkingdom.com. Pay them so they pay us. If you go to cardkingdom.com/LRR, you will arrive at a website that uses our affiliate code, on which you can order many delicious and nutritious magic cards. If you're in the United States, you can use them to order sealed product. And anywhere else in the world, you can mainly use them to order singles. And their singles are, shipped with great efficiency. And if you happen to be in Seattle, for example, say at PAX West, although I imagine this podcast is going up after PAX West will have ended, you can find their brick and mortar stores in Bellevue and Ballard. And they're just really nice places to go.
They're awesome stores.
I frequently say that they are the kind of store that I would want to open. They are a clean, well-lighted place to storm out. So...
Do you mean to storm out of, or to storm out like with your storm deck?
Out, yeah, to storm for lethal.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like to storm out of. You're like,
well,
that is a fine establishment I just left in my dust.
I never put that together. Your
F those people.
Your opponent storms out and you storm out.
Right. Those are the two things that happen in every storm game. They storm out and you storm out.
Two people storm out. They're homophones.
Or maybe they storm off.
They storm off?
Because you always say you're going off. You don't say you're going out. Right?
Yeah,
but you do say you storm out.
Off.
Yeah, you go when you. Anyways,
they're really great people. They support us very well. And if you say in the additional comments field, if you decide to order from them, they will. If you say LoadingReadyRun sent me button, please, they will include one of our little 1-inch buttons if they have any in stock. They burn through these very quickly. But currently, I think we should have 3 reprints in stock, one of which is Top Deck Lethal.
And one is probably Who Dares Bargle with Yargle. Mm-hmm. And we don't know.
I'm personally unsure what the third one is, but you hopefully will receive a little 1-inch button. Please consider cardkingdom.com if you find yourself online looking to order magic cards.
We also want to thank you and everyone who supports us at Patreon. Patreon.com/LoadingReadyRun. So without your kind and generous support, none of this would be possible. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you did this.
You did. It's your fault. Yeah. Every Monday.
Shall we move on to the crack-a-pack?
Okay, we're going to crack a pack now.
Okay. Nelson, or actually, I'll roll you.
Okay,
you
count.
Without James here. 13. Lucky 13.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8?
8.
No, this is just a pack of tokens. Oh, maybe not.
Is it?
I don't know what's going on here. There's a 9, 10, 11, 12. We've got Core Set advanced level 15 card booster pack. So
this would
you
be...
wouldn't know, but this is 8th edition.
Oh,
it doesn't want to tell you on the front, but it's 8th edition.
Okay.
It might say on the back. Yeah, it does. The best trading card game players are Magic the Gathering, Circle R players, and the best start with the 8th edition core set. It's like, really? It's like, when you printed this, you already want to claim that the best players are Magic players, and now you're saying they start with 8th edition, and you put that on here before they could even bought it. So you're like, hey, everybody, subtle jab at everyone who already plays.
Magic, yeah.
But if you started before 8th edition,
then you were a scrub tier.
Suck.
Yeah.
Knobster the Lobster sent this to us. Thanks, Knobster. Doesn't say when. This is actually when I got back into Magic.
Really?
Yeah, I started in beta, and then I quit for a while at like the end of high school, college, which is for me around 2000. And then I got back in when I moved home to Victoria to finish university and didn't have any friends and wanted a hobby.
Yeah, fair.
Okay, what do we got here? How's this, Paul? Is that going to work for the card reader? I put it kind of right in the middle of this little square. No? Up, maybe? Oh,
yeah, that should be good.
Right around here?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Is it...
We're reading cards. We're doing it.
All right, sorry.
No problem.
1 sec.
Do you want me to move it again?
No, that's fine. Let me...
We're experiencing technical difficulties. If you're watching this part of the podcast, thanks for continuing to tune in. Yeah. After the crack pack, we're going to talk about some stuff that's coming up, some new products. Okay.
Yeah, very exciting news.
It's Vicious Hunger, black, 2 black mana for a sorcery. Vicious Hunger deals 2 damage to target creature and you gain 2 life.
Yeah, this kind of effect has seen reprint. I think the most recent version is the one that has Sorin rather than Krovax on it and can go to the dome. Right? Or not the most recent version?
I can't remember if it can go to the dome. I think it's an instant. Does that one go to the dome? The ability for black to go upstairs with direct damage is pretty tightly contained.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like the thing that red does. So I think Sorin's Thirst from, is it M13?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Sorin's Thirst. I think it's an instant, but I think it still only hits creatures.
Okay.
There's also like Farika's Cure. That one, I think they always just do creatures. But they made it an instant. So Vicious Hunger originally printed in, one of those sets I also didn't play during that break I was talking about. But yeah, solid removal spell, gains your life, kills an elf or whatever.
Yeah.
Speaking of solid removal, we got Pacifism from originally, I want to say, Mirage. I think this is the Mirage art. Visions, one of those blocks.
There,
and that was the first time that we saw what would become like just the normal removal for white. Pacifism or a Pacifism-like effect have been printed in probably every set you've played. Pacifism's the best one. They only ever give us Pacifism, or they give us something that's more expensive but has another effect, or might
an arrest kind of tier effect.
So they either make us pay more mana and give us something a little better, or they just make us pay more mana. They've also done that recently. Luminous Bonds, I think, is just 3 mana Pacifism, or sometimes they, like there's a Shackles card from, or it's Guard Duty. Sometimes they do give us 1 white mana enchantment removal, but it's like the creature can still block.
Yeah, it gets Defender.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, Pacifism, really, really great and limited. Goblin Raider. It's a grizzly bear in red.
With downside.
Yep, can't block. It's like it already has reverse guard. So if you put Guard Duty on this, it's better than Pacifism. But don't do that. Just play a 2/3 instead. Okay, coming up next, it's Avon Fisher. I really like this card.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a 4 mana 2/2 flyer, a little bit more expensive than Azure Drake, but then when it dies, you draw a card.
Okay, yeah. I mean, this turned up kind of a few years ago on a 5 mana 3/3 flyer.
Right. School of the, like, is a fish from Mirrodin or something? Or we think it was a Geist?
It was a Drake from a core set.
Okay.
But you know, this seems good. I would
really
pay for this at 4.
Yeah, I really liked any of my 8th edition limited decks that had this card, because usually it was like, you know, if you had to kind of pick these early, but then later on you get the rest of the blue flyers and you try to get into a flying archetype, and this was just a really solid role player because it defends really well if you are in a bad spot.
Yeah,
like, you know.
Right. No, it was definitely a core set.
Okay.
5 mana, 3/3
but I mean,
flyer.
Here's a much better version of Avon
card.
Fisher, though. Slightly harder to cast, but has 4 toughness. Like this card's from Scars of Mirrodin, much more solid.
Yeah, flying
than Avon
Colorfield
Fisher.
box that does a bunch of stuff.
There
Messenger Drake,
she
there
is.
we
Messenger
go.
Drake from
Yeah.
M14. Of course, you're right. Yes. Okay. So both those cards better than Avon Fisher, but the power level of this set
Yeah.
Relatively, Avon Fisher, I think, is still very playable in the 8th edition limited environment.
Also, Christopher Muller art.
Yeah.
I really like his use of shadows.
Decent little picture.
Yeah.
All right, so coming up next. Whoop, 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 whoop. You guys can't see it yet, but it's dun dun dun. Giant spider.
Yep, the natural predator of Avon Fisher.
That's right. Even blocks these other good cards like Messenger Drake or the 2/4 Drake from Scars that we saw. Really, really strong card. Not quite as good as Pacifism, but as far as creatures go, one of my favorite. Has been in almost every base set.
Yeah, like Pacifism, it prevents you from being attacked, but this one can also eventually kill your opponent.
And it's just stylish. Look at him eating that little dragon. We've also got a Holy Day in here.
Oh, wow.
White Fog. First printed. Oh, it's definitely different art.
I
want
to say Invasion.
Yeah, either Invasion or Odyssey sounds right. Maybe it was Urza.
I remember this having Urza on it.
Yeah,
and
so
being
one of
like,
those.
Yeah, confronting the Phyrexian portal.
For sure, yeah. Holy Day, I think the original art of Holy Day has like an important storyline moment on it. But yeah, it's just Fog. Oh my gosh,
wow,
it's from Legends.
Wow.
Apparently having both me and
it's
Cam on the podcast is sort of useless, because we just have the same exact reaction.
How often do you have this experience where you're like, oh, this is an interesting new card that we're seeing for the first time, and then you check it, and of course it was printed in Legends, because Legends had about 4,000 cards in it.
It did have a lot of cards, and also like basically every card, like this will ring true for a lot of our viewers, I think anyone who started playing at 8th edition or later, but like basically every card from Legends is a rare, you know?
Yeah.
Like unless you actually open packs of Legends, or you work in a card store and there's access to a box of Legends you've had to look through for someone or whatever, but it's just like not a lot of cards from Legends period are around, and there were a ton of different named cards, as you were saying.
Yeah.
I
think Alex
love how wordy this is.
Yeah, it's got the old templating. Creatures attack and block as normal, but none deal any damage. They need to be like any damage, just to be clear, not to players or to each other. All attacking creatures are still tapped. Play anytime before attack damage is assigned. They could have put some more sentences. Like if this was from beta, it would also say like, this may be played on your opponent's turn or your turn. Right?
This is the one
that was the one I was
Invasion
thinking
is
of,
correct.
Right? Yeah.
Good guess. Yeah, excellent work. I didn't play right during Invasion when it came out. So. Okay. We've also got a Plague Beetle. Watch out. This will give you malaria. It's a 1/1 Swamp Walk. So Swamp Walk is an ability. It costs 1 black, and it's a 1/1 Swamp Walk. Swamp Walk is an ability that they phased out along with every other basic land type before the word walk, which just means if the defending player controls a swamp or any type of land that has the swamp type, then they can't block this. It's not a very fun mechanic because it either does nothing if your opponent doesn't playing swamps, or it's like overpowered. 1 mana, 1/1 unblockable. That's a little better than they actually want their 1 mana creatures to be.
Yeah.
Except, of course, Forest Walk.
Is Forest Walk still? Oh, well, they can put it in Commander. That's
just
fine.
printed it in
They just
Commander,
printed a Forest Walk card? Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I guess they phase things out of Standard. We're going to get back to that, actually. You know, here's a Commander card that I actually haven't even read yet. So there's a lot of supplemental products coming out these days, but we'll come back to that. Further on in our pack of 8th edition, sorry, I hope everyone's still awake on this pack of 8th edition. It does just keep going with boring normal cards. It's Lone Wolf. This is a kind of cool ability that they haven't brought back much lately, but it's sort of like this reverse trample or super trample or something they call it. Anyways, 1 green and 2 generic for a creature wolf. You may have Lone Wolf deal its combat damage to the defending player as though it weren't blocked, and it's a 2/2. So what this ability means is when it attacks, if nothing blocks it, okay, they take 2 as normal. And if something blocks it, you just have the choice. You can either have it deal its damage to the blocking creature or creatures as you normally would do, or you can instead have all its damage deal to the player. Whereas like Trample kind of gives you the option. If you have extra damage, you're allowed to deal it to the player. You normally do. But this is like, you can just deal all of its damage to the player at the cost of getting to deal any to the creatures. It's kind of a cool card.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a form of evasion, so any form of evasion in green decks generally is good because they tend to like lock the ground up.
Yeah,
and get giant spiders and just like lock the whole board up. But then if they can't actually push through damage, they're in trouble. Okay, it's Flash Counter. This card's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's like Dispel only worse.
Now this one I want to say I can remember was originally printed in also I want to say either Legends or the Dark. It was a really old one. It's just 1 generic and 1 blue, instant for counter target instant spell. And yeah, in Morningtide they printed Negate, and they've printed Negate a bunch of times since, and that's like the, standard since then. It was Legends, hooray!
Another Legends card.
Yeah, this one I actually remember.
I also remember the guy on this.
It also countered interrupts, lol. Sorry, that's right. Yeah.
I also remember this guy's, the guy on the art here, from a different card. I forget what it was, but I do remember him going, ooh. Right? Like it was one of the cards where there's a blue mage sitting at a desk going, wait a minute. Right?
Yeah. Is it Thirst for Knowledge? No, that one he's like wearing the glasses, right? Are you thinking of 3 mana instant draw 2, then untap 3 lands? Frantic Search?
That might...
Or Inspiration? Maybe Inspiration is draw 2 for 4.
No, Inspiration from Visions.
Well, there's a couple arts. There's a couple
arts for it might be Inspiration.
It's like an Inspiration from
Actually,
a whiteboard set.
that sounds right.
Look at us remembering art.
There we go, yeah.
There it is. You're right, that is the same.
The same dude. And it's an instant.
So I guess the person from the point of view of the artist is just like countering the inspiration.
Yeah.
Suck it. No, you didn't think of anything, idiot. Raging Goblin next up. 1 red for a 1/1 haste goblin. Pretty solid card. They gave us Goblin Guide eventually, but this card has seen constructed play.
Really?
Yeah, in just either hyper aggressive red or red X decks or in goblins. Right? You know,
I like what they've done with this recently, where it's usually like what was it in Shadows over Innistrad, where it was a hasty vampire that you could sacrifice to discard something.
There's the one in Shadows, it's really strong and it gets a ton of play in Modern as a sacrifice outlet and dredge enabler, but it doesn't have haste, it has a menace.
Oh,
so it's just
what am I thinking of? There was a 1/1 with haste recently.
Well, there's Bomat Courier that's still rocking the standard format. And Bomat Courier is a Raging Goblin, but with a huge upside. Yeah. The one you're thinking of is like Insolent Neonate, maybe? Because that one, it does attack. It's a 1-drop, right? But it mostly...
This was the one I was thinking of.
Okay, yeah. It has a keyword ability, it's just not haste. Yeah,
sorry. My bad.
That's okay. Okay, into the uncommons. We've got Angel of Mercy. This might be a pick over Pacifism so far for best card in the pack. Four generic and 1 white. This might have been the last set that Melissa Benson worked for WotC. Flying, 3/3, and when Angel of Mercy enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Really strong card, predecessor to such recent powerhouses as Herald of Faith. Same kind of idea, where it plays offense and defense really well because it gains you life. And it's a 3/3 body in the sky, so yeah, strong. It's no Sara Angel, but that's kind of where this is sort of the standard of decent creatures for this set.
I mean, this seems like it owns the sky in this format.
Yeah, so far. I mean, it still doesn't get through that giant spider. So
no, true.
Taking the pacifism is still pretty acceptable. I really like this card, but it's bad. 1 blue mana enchantment, Telepathy. Text box, your opponents play with their hands revealed. So this is...
this seems like the kind of effect that would be powerful.
Yeah, if you're new. Yeah. You're not. It turns out you're not supposed to actually devote a card slot in your deck to this effect. You're just supposed to like get good at Magic and like know kind of when to play your tricks and whatnot. But I really like this card, and it allows you to play almost chess, right? Like you get all the known information that's in your opponent's hand. You don't maybe get to know what's in their deck or in their sideboard, but you still get to know what's in their hand. If you like this kind of effect, but you don't play blue, you can pick up, I think still pretty cheap, a copy of Glasses of Urza from Revised.
Right.
Which is 1 generic mana to cast artifact, and then it's like tap and look at target player's hand till end of turn. Or you just look at the player's hand during the resolution of the effect, I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas this one makes all your opponents play with all their hands all revealed all the time. Classic spell here in the last uncommon slot. It's Zombify. 3 generic and a black. For sorcery, return target creature from your graveyard to play. Or to the battlefield, I guess. So this is a pretty typical effect. We've seen it come back a whole bunch. Oh, before our rare, I thought maybe we'd necessarily had a foil, but we have a basic land in this pack. I can't remember if 8th edition gave you a basic land in every pack, or if
this is an exciting anomaly.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful John Avon art here. By the way, looking at these 8th edition frames reminded me that yesterday, I didn't get all the way through it, but I started watching Gathering Magic's hour-long video on card frames. I'll probably finish it later. I was painting my living room at the time, but then I left the room with the TV in it. So, but yeah, shout out to that. It was like, I was listening, like, it's weird, just this whole video is just on card frames, but like, it's pretty interesting. Sara Angel as a rare... New York City! Okay.
Oh, wow.
Take it away, Cam.
Okay, Sara Angel, what's not to love? 3 white for an angel. She's a 4/4 with flying, and attacking does not cause Sara Angel to tap, aka Vigilance.
Vigilance was brought in only 1 year later after this. So this set came out, then Mirrodin came out, and then the following fall they gave us Vigilance in Kamigawa.
Yeah, with the ultra rare Mark Zug art.
Yeah, this is not her best look, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are some very pointy tits that you've got there, Sarah.
Yeah, it's, I don't know what's going on there with your armor, but it's...
It's probably not very practical, I can't imagine. She's kind of in this weird sort of metal bikini, wearing some tinfoil.
Yeah.
Art direction has gone in a very different place in 8th edition.
The quality of the painting is quite high.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some technical concerns here.
This Sara Angel is definitely ready to show up to like a heavy metal concert, but not necessarily a rally.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the classic.
The original, yeah.
Yeah.
Next to this one, yeah, they're both ready to like rock out to a lot of 16th notes played on 2 simultaneous, very loud electric guitars.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure when I was a kid, I thought she had a horn coming out of her forehead.
Oh, really? Oh, because the wing kind of looks like that?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But I think is it generally converged on, or generally agreed upon that the best Sara Angel art is the Rebecca Gay promo?
Is that, okay, so that's the one, yeah, probably. I mean, this one from, that one's from the Angels box set or whatever. So yeah, that one's lovely. I think the most iconic one is from, it's 9th edition, I think, originally. We just saw it, Paul just had it up, and it's yeah, she's just framed in such a way that you're just like, that is definitely a person who is flying. Yeah. Right? Like, that is definitely an angel, right? Like, just the frame of around the border, really, her wingspan takes up the whole thing. Is it Greg Staples?
Yes.
So yeah, same artist who brought us Baneslayer Angel, I think. He's like quite good at painting angels, clearly.
I mean, I always think of, when I think of Sara Angel, I think of the alphabet on the
the Douglas Schiller.
Yeah, art. But that's because that's when I first encountered it, so it was kind of archetypal for me.
Of course, like like Shivan Dragon or a few other things. Sara Angel is the most, she's been in the most sets that she hasn't been in. Because she's in the she's in the little extra pieces for so many of for a bunch of the core sets.
Right. So she appears outside the set.
Yeah. So she's actually like she's in Dominaria, even though you'll never actually get her in a booster pack.
Is that right? I thought she was just printed in Dominaria.
Yeah, no, she is actually
she's in a, but you're right though. You're right. She's in like M15 even though she's not, or something, or she's in Magic Origins even though she's not.
Yeah, she's a super.
But in Dominaria, I think they actually gave us Dominaria.
Dominaria. Yeah, I don't think they would get away with doing Dominaria.
Okay.
Yeah, M15, she's in the extra stuff.
Supernumerary.
Yeah, is her collector number above
273 out of 269.
Yeah, and she's got a whole bunch of those.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
That's our pack of 8th edition. The
Sara
first
Angel
pick
at Rare
is, in fact, Sara. Yeah, if you thought I was going to first pick the Angel of Mercy, turns out I am going to first pick the Sara Angel. You can make a case for pacifism, but you really shouldn't. I'm not sure if there's a creature in this set. I don't know, there's probably a couple. This set might have had, like, Arcanus the Omnipotent. Oh, that's pacifism. Let me shut that down. I'm trying to imagine what else, or remember what else is in this set that you would pick over Sara Angel. Maybe Fireball, maybe, but it's not in this pack. I'm all in on Sara Angel here. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah. You don't usually get a better bang for your buck out of a pack of Magic cards in a draft than Sara Angel. Yeah. It'd be really weird to pick Pacifism and then pass your neighbor Sara Angel. Now, Pacifism, I think, is the clear second pick, or Angel of Mercy. So actually this pack is super awkward.
Yeah, because you're putting your next two opponents in white.
Yeah,
or the two people to your left in white.
Like, there's not much chance that your neighbor is picking Giant Spider, Vicious Hunger, or Ravenfisher over Pacifism or Angel of Mercy too. So it is actually a super awkward pack. There's a concept called signaling, where you just try to entirely stay out of white, but then it kind of like, and it was popular for a while, but then it sort of was overthrown by the like, just take the best card idea, and like, let the chips fall where they may. So. Yeah, you might just have to hook your neighbor on the left. Try to show them that white's open and then take it away from them.
Has signaling fallen out of favor?
At least in my mind. Well, it's not that it's useless. It's just that, like, you have to know that you have to, like, or the idea
signaling only works when everyone else does it.
Not just
Right.
that, but you have to not like sacrifice too much of your deck for the sake of signaling. Like say you want to commit to,
Like
go
as a
ahead.
tiebreaker. Maybe.
Yeah. Like say you want to signal with this pack. You can't take any of the white cards,
Yes.
right? And that's kind of all this pack has. Like Zombify is cool, Aven Fisher is cool, Vicious Hunger is okay. And then after that there's just Giant Spider. So you have on the one hand like 3 amazing white cards, and then you have 4 cards kind of in Sultai that like are fine. Yeah, they're like, you're happy that they're in your deck, but they're not first picks. So you aren't left really with the choice of both signaling and feeling good about your draft. So I think you're forced to just take the best card.
Yeah.
And then, you know what, honestly, if you don't end up in white, you don't play your Sara Angel, then whatever.
Yeah,
right?
but I
still think
you
it's
can
right
kind
to
of-
risk trying to.
Yeah, I think you can hope that you cut the people to your left in white.
Yeah, for
that
2
point.
packs, you're going to be the person upstream of the neighbor who just got the pacifism / Angel. I mean, it's possible that you're putting both of your neighbors to the left in white.
Yeah.
As the first one's just like, oh, Angel of Mercy, and the second one's like, oh, pacifism, right? Like those are.
I
3
used to
best
go
cards in
very
the pack,
hard in
basically.
on signaling, and then I had this terrible experience in Origins, I think, where I was at this
Right.
draft where for the first 2 packs I cut blue very hard and put together a pretty decent blue deck. And then pack 3, nothing.
Okay.
And the person to my right afterwards is like, hey, check out what I
All
picked
my blue
up.
cards.
Yeah, check out what I picked up in pack 3. I just got past all these blue cards in pack 3,
Right.
and I just picked up them all. I'm not playing any of them, but I cut somebody on blue super hard. Isn't that awesome? And I'm like, well, we both he wound up losing as well.
Right.
Right.
Weird.
Yeah.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the problem with the signaling is that, there's always the packs that you open, and there just legitimately is no whatever green in the pack, and then somebody be like, "Ooh, there must have been something else." Somebody
Right.
must be grabbing all the green. I guess I won't go into that. And it's just like, no, there legitimately just wasn't.
there were
anything
2
in
packs with no green cards.
Yeah,
Right.
Sometimes that happens.
So, I mean, the thing to learn here is, you want to take the Sara Angel for those 8th edition drafts you do that we've been droning on about for 10 minutes or whatever, but you take the Sara Angel and whatever other powerful best card in every time you draft, and then, you just want to be aware that you passed 2 other good white cards. So maybe don't, pin all your hopes on getting to play that Sara Angel, but you definitely take it, I think.
But
Right.
by the way, 8th edition has some real spice in it.
Yeah, it does. It's got
Snaring
Wrath of God.
Bridge.
Oh, right,
Oh.
Snaring Bashir. Yeah, that's not what came to mind immediately. That wasn't played barely at all in the limited
Yeah,
format.
and then
yeah.
it's suddenly
Blood
Modern
Moon.
All-Star.
Yeah,
Moon,
oh, that's right. Yeah, Modern has really
Yeah.
turned
City
up.
of Brass is
Yeah.
in 8th edition.
There you go.
Yeah,
Modern,
you
Modern
really
really turned
wanted
up the
to-
heat on 8th edition, didn't it?
Yeah, you want to ruin someone's day in Highlander, play a white-bordered Blood Moon.
Yeah.
And
You'll
just
get 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
All-
was it you
All their
who,
mountains
who
become
played
non-basic. Yeah.
somebody
Probably.
shared
I
a
have some-
picture of you cracking Lotus to play a white-bordered Blood Moon. And
Yeah, it was
just
probably
like,
me.
come on. Don't.
It might have been a Modern Masters Blood Moon, because I know, one time on stream here, I got shit on for playing Modern Masters Blood Moon. I'm like, it's the only one I have. I didn't, traded away the Dark Blood Moons for, 4 for 1 blood ball laning or something, because that was fair at the time.
Oh, it's like when you think about how many fetch lands you traded away as currency during Zendikar block.
Oh, sure.
Because it's like, hey, I want this thing out of somebody's or you want something out of somebody's trade binder,
Right.
And they're like, well, I don't want anything out of yours, but I'll take 3 Scalding Tarns for it, right? And you're like, yeah, that's
fair.
that's
Yeah,
about
you
right.
check the market. You're like, they're $8. Okay, yeah, that's
they were
fine.
they were just basically like currency, and then
Yeah.
you realize that you had 35 fetch lands that went through your collection for things that are $2 or $3 now.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of cracking packs and things that cost money, I guess.
Yeah, let's smooth, buttery smooth. Very good.
Let's talk about new products that are coming out.
Okay, yeah.
So there's Magic Game Night, right?
Tell me about this.
So it's a new product that I think is in the same vein as Plane Chase and Arch Enemy.
Okay.
So it's a supplementary product that doesn't necessarily have cards that are legal and standard. And then it's aimed at people who maybe haven't played Magic yet.
Right.
And also maybe do all want to play Magic just together, not necessarily
Yeah,
show
like
up
a
to an
kitchen table
FNM.
crowd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's this product that you can you can bring home if you've never played Magic, but you do have a play group and they've played some amount of Magic or not.
Right.
And so then it's 5 decks that are all ready to go, and they're kind of geared to have a multiplayer game together. But I think they're like 60-card casual decks as opposed to Commander decks.
Yeah, they're 60-card decks. I guess the idea is it's like as a drop-in replacement for like a board game.
Yeah, right. So then now they've done this before. They've had some different Magic board game products. More recently,
it was Explorers of Ixalan.
Yeah, Explorers of Ixalan. So I guess they maybe looked at, WotC might have seen kind of what Explorers of Ixalan did and then just wanted to take a step back and say, okay, we like the aspect that it's a little self-contained unit, but we don't want to add on the like extra rules because our board game crowd that we're trying to appeal to already they're already
games.
learned.
Yeah.
Well, they already own Settlers of Catan, but then also maybe they're used to rules taking 20 minutes to learn as opposed to like 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
You know, so we want to give them less rules rather than more. So there's that.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Any choice reprints?
Well, it is. I don't know if the full deck lists have actually been released yet, or maybe they have.
It's going to contain. Go ahead. Yeah.
But yeah, there's 5 new cards. So there's 1 mythic rare new card that in each of the 5 decks that are all multiplayer relevant, I guess. So I guess they could be all Commander theoretically.
Right. They could. Well. So usually these cards are legal in Commander and Legacy, but not Modern and Standard, right?
Yeah.
Should we talk about those cards a bit, or
sure,
is it easy to pull them up? Or okay, great.
All right, Goblin Goliath, 4 red for a 5/4 Goblin mutant. When Goblin Goliath enters the battlefield, create a number of 1/1 red Goblin creature tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. Okay. It also has another ability, 3 and a red and tap. If a source you control would deal damage to an opponent this turn, it deals double that damage to that player instead. Yeah, I guess if you're in a big Commander game, this comes with 3 1/1s, and then you can selectively like double your fireball if X has been more than 5.
Yeah,
that's when it becomes economical.
It'd be neat if it was like, well, no, I guess this is just better. So the way that the second ability, the activated ability, is templated, it can only affect your damage as opposed to like all the damage that would get dealt to a particular opponent, which is like, the difference between those two is that you can use the second one more on like an opponent's turn when they're attacking a third player, right? Like when you can play, you can play Trumpet Blast, for example, in a Commander game, whenever you want, whenever any attack is being made, it just pumps attacking creatures' power.
Right.
So, this doesn't do that. This only really works kind of on your own turn, on your own attacks, or at the end of someone's turn if you're going to use like lightning bolts,
Yeah, I suppose this also has a bit of utility in those giant board stalls you occasionally get in multiplayer games where the red deck maybe actually can't crack in, but this guy can turn sideways and do something.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're shocking someone to the dome.
Right, exactly. Right. Yeah, so kind of a cool card. I don't see it as, I think it's costed heavily enough, both the activated ability and the casting cost, that we won't probably see too much application of this in any constructive format. By the way, we mentioned Commander, but every time I look at a card, I'm thinking about Canadian Highlander, right? So I don't imagine this one being, and also with these sets, sometimes, like I particularly want to mention, like sometimes these supplementary cards, like the Plane Chase cards, sometimes sneak into Legacy, and sometimes even other ones that don't really sneak into Legacy do sneak into Canadian Highlander, because they're just, they're not the top power level, but they're just good enough for our format.
Or they have some weirdo rule on them ability that you don't see.
For sure.
Like I'm thinking,
like Arc Slogger. Go ahead.
Yeah, Marin of Clan Nel Toth also made some appearance in Highlander.
Yeah,
decks.
so Marin of Clan Nel Toth. Yeah, so it's like sometimes, basically Canadian Highlander, it often will look at all the cards that are supplementary cards that are good enough for Legacy, and then also all the cards that are like good enough for Commander, right? Like good enough for like a constructed Commander deck, like Marin of Clan Nel Toth is. And then from all those cards, it'll generally try things, right? So Marin, if you're unfamiliar, 2 generic black and a green for a 3/4 legendary creature human shaman, and then it uses experience counters because it's from that Commander set. Whenever another creature you control dies, get an experience counter, and an experience counter is just a counter on you, like a poison counter. And it also has an ability that says, at the beginning of your end step, choose target creature card in your graveyard. If that card's converted mana cost is less than or equal to the number of experience counters you have, Return it to the battlefield, otherwise put it in your hand. So every turn it gets you something, even if you have no experience counters yet, which these get just by creatures dying, or your creatures you control dying. But then eventually, once it gets going, you get to just start zombifying things as opposed to just raised hitting things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's also the Inspired Sphinx is also from the blue one from that set.
5 blue for a Sphinx. That is a 5/5 with flying. When inspired Sphinx enters the battlefield, draw cards equal to the number of opponents you have. I'm detecting a cycle here. 3 in a green or 3 in a blue. Create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I want to say the same things as I said about the first one.
Yeah, this is fairly costed.
Yes, it's
Right.
very fair. The art's awesome. Yeah. Okay. So pretty unexciting giant flying beater that makes more flyers and draws cards.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah.
Militant Angel, 3 white, flying lifelink for a 3/4 angel. When Militant Angel enters the battlefield, create a number of 2/2 white knight creature tokens with vigilance equal to the number of opponents you attacked this turn. Aha.
Number of opponents you attacked. So you don't even get a 2/2 white knight just for having an opponent. You have to attack them to get the 2/2 white knight.
Yeah, so pseudo raid.
Yeah, this one, it's still not great, but I could actually see, because it has lifelink, like the red deck in Canadian Highlander is a thing. Like it's one of the better decks. Like red deck wins is like usually tier 1, if not tier 1.5 or something. It doesn't usually ever get any lower than that. So lifelink creatures are relevant. You know, like that the flip Liliana is just like a little better in Canadian Highlander than it would otherwise be.
Yeah, a lifelink creature that doesn't die to shock.
Yeah, lifelink creatures basically work in Canadian Highlander. So, yeah, this one, I still don't think it's going to pass the curve, but I could imagine some version of...
But yeah, at 5, this could be a contender.
Mid-range where you might play this. It's like really hard to imagine cutting Archangel Avacyn for this, but this does have lifelink.
Yeah, this is closer than...
And it's like close to having a good body. Like it's not definitely not as good as Baneslayer or new legendary Baneslayer.
Yeah,
Lyra Dawnbringer.
Lyra Dawnbringer.
Lyra, I don't know. Yeah, so it's definitely below those two, but it
this twitches
tries
a needle.
to. Yeah, it's like then Windray Rock is still better than this, but then there's this. So if you're on like the 4 Baneslayers plan, there's a chance you're playing this.
All right. Rot Hulk, 5 black for a 5/5 zombie with menace. When Rot Hulk enters the battlefield, return up to X target zombie cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of opponents you have.
Okay. Well, like this, it could be a cool reanimator card. Like, isn't Sutured Ghoul a zombie?
Yeah, and
so then if
Grave Titan, is Grave Titan a Titan zombie?
Maybe, yeah.
Or do they have 2 creature types, or are they all just Titans?
Well, here's the thing. Sorry, I want to come back to Sutured Ghoul if I may, because Sutured Ghoul used to be the win condition in Highlander Hermit Druid. So if you were playing that deck already, and like usually they win with Angel's Glorious Rise now, but say, yeah, it's a zombie, okay, good. So if you wanted to play Sutured Ghoul and attack with Anger in your graveyard, you can do that. And then also, if you feel like you have a spare spot in your deck, you could shove Rot Hulk in, and then you could go reanimate your Rot Hulk after you've milled your entire library, and then your Rot Hulk brings in your Sutured Ghoul. Your Sutured Ghoul is like 1 point smaller, but you have a second body. It also just like potentially stops like their, I don't know, it doesn't really stop their pinpoint graveyard or their targeted graveyard removal from hitting you, but whatever. It's like, that's where my mind went. The fact that it can reanimate a zombie when it ETBs, even just one, is potentially powerful. So if they do another Sutured Ghoul, there might be a situation where you want that enough to put that card in your deck, even though it's 7 mana. So, you know, Sutured Ghoul, 4 generic, 3 black, creature zombie, trample, and then star. As Sutured Ghoul enters the battlefield, exile any number of creature cards from your graveyard, and the Sutured Ghoul's power is equal to the number of the total power of the exiled cards, and toughness is equal to the total toughness. So that's a 7 mana zombie that does actually get played in Constructed. So it's possible.
It's a 30/30.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's worthwhile to note that the black deck that this goes in is mostly zombies.
In the little
in the
thing.
set, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They're all monocolor decks, obviously.
Right. Okay.
All right, last one.
Avatar of Growth, 4 green for an elemental avatar. It's a 4/4 with trample. This spell costs 1 generic less to cast for each opponent you have. When Avatar of Growth enters the battlefield, each player searches their library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffles their library. Definitely getting a fixed primetime vibe off this.
Yeah.
But for like 5 mana for a 4/4 trampler that finds 2 basics. Right?
Does this go into like if you're playing Explosive Vegetation, this is 1 more and you get a 4/4 trampler, but your opponent also gets 2 basic lands, so
Does anyone run Veteran Explorer kind of effects?
yeah, well, I'm just trying to think, like, so Noel had what he called the big green machine for a while that was like mono green Eldrazi in Canadian Highlander. So maybe that would play this card, but probably not. Like 5 mana for a ramp spell.
Yeah.
I mean,
also,
Hour of Promise is pretty good and Primetime is pretty good, but this only gets basic lands, so.
And this is also only a 4/4 body.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, that's fine, but usually in green you get more.
I think, honestly, though, for regular Commander, this could be super sweet, because if you're playing 3 mana, like if you have a 3 mana 4/4 ramp spell that ramps everybody, you know, obviously the plan is your green ramp cards are going to be more relevant than theirs. Like, you're ramping up to something crazy expensive and busted, and they're just ramping up to something regular expensive and busted.
Yeah, and if they go from 14 to 16 mountains, then that's probably not a big problem.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
the more I say that, the more I'm just like, wait, Nelson, no, in Commander, everyone's doing X
Yeah.
spells and Eldrazi Titans, right?
yeah,
So-
no, maybe this is.
Yeah,
maybe
okay,
this is not.
all right. Okay, so these cards are all poop.
Yeah.
So that's good, because, you know, you can only buy them by getting Magic Game Night, so you don't have to.
I was going to
What
say
have we
it's a
got there?
double-edged sword, but it's really more like a sword with no handle.
You just have to hold the tang and try not to cut yourself as badly as you cut your opponent. Okay, so that's Magic Game Night.
Pretty art, though.
Yeah, and then, sorry, you were asking if there's any choice reprints, but not all the deck lists are necessarily spoiled yet.
No, they are all spoiled.
Oh, they are all spoiled? Okay, fair enough. We haven't perused all the deck lists, all of us.
Yeah.
But there's a chance sometimes these things come with enough kind of exciting reprints that you want to buy them even if you're a regular player.
Usually Wizards will try to, slip us 1 or 2 in order to get in. Like, they want their products to be purchased by a diverse audience of people.
Yeah, for
right.
sure.
They don't want these sitting on the shelves.
So yeah,
maybe
if the
there's a
black
couple
deck
of
has a bunch of Vampire Nighthawks, maybe you'll buy it, that sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Does every deck have a Soul Ring in it? We've seen that trope play out a couple times.
No.
Okay. The last one I remember buying was Modern Event Deck. When it came
Oh,
out, it wasn't
yeah,
that big
yeah.
a deal, but then slowly the Path to Exiles and Inquisitions of Kozilek went up past $10, and then I really pulled the trigger. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to buy 2 of these because it's a great deal. I need all those Inquisitions.
Black deck has 3 murders in it if you want to murder. Liliana's Mastery.
Hey, listen, if you
Black
want to
deck.
murder, please call the teen helpline, okay?
Yeah,
You need help.
There's
You can call it even if you're older than a teenager or younger.
Siege Gang Commanders in the red deck. Ghalta Primal Hunger is in the green deck.
Okay. Ghalta's a good card. Yeah. You can also get a Ghalta now, I think, from buying a certain pack from like a Walmart or a big box store. There's like some extra Ghaltas running around. Why don't we segue Ghalta into the next thing we were going to talk about, which is giant green monsters that got accidentally spoiled
Yeah.
and have a cost reduction mechanic.
Yeah. Ooh, there we go. Another. Yeah, nice. Just smooth. Totally imperceptible.
I've been painting all week. I've just been
just-
rolling the paint.
Yeah, Nelson, he just picks up the conversation, just moves it over so gracefully that you never even
So,
notice.
in Germany, or on the German website,
Yeah, I believe this
for
card.
Dominaria.
Yeah, this German card reads "Der fucking Hugen Woman."
But yeah, someone accidentally coded this information onto the wrong page or something, because I heard it was on like the Dominaria product page by accident.
Yeah.
You could see the upcoming buy a box promo for Guilds of Ravnica, right?
But here we have a 16/16 worm for 7 green.
That's only 10 mana. But wait,
It has indestructible. Okay.
I like it.
And Convoke.
So 10 mana, 16/16 indestructible. Where can I buy it? Oh wait, Convoke, you say?
Yeah.
What's that ability, Cam?
Your creatures can help you pay for this spell. Each creature you tap while casting the spell pays for 1 generic mana or 1 mana of that creature's colors. So if you have 10 green creatures on the board. You can tap them all, and this guy is free.
Now, if you're like me and Dana Fisher, we play elves, so that's not anything new. So we wouldn't really want to play this thing. Because we're used to just making a bunch of mana, because our creatures help us pay for spells all the time, no matter what.
But maybe, they're...
But if you like to play spirits and humans and other beast tokens and stuff like that...
maybe you're making a lot of bird tokens in Ravnica again.
Yeah, maybe you have some Sengir Autocrat serfs that you would like to use to power out a 16/16 indestructible. You know what I've noticed about this Great Worm?
What?
It doesn't have trample.
I know.
Unless that line at the bottom is trample and not like some flavor text.
I believe that is the ultimate answer to intrigue and subtlety, is not trample. So, I mean, like, this is definitely probably not going to break up board stalls unless you have tapped out your entire board to cast it, in which case this will break up a board stall, but not in your favor.
And they'll path this and then get in with their normal creatures. And you'll be like, good convoke job.
Yeah, all right, we cast our spell. Yeah, I mean, this is not terribly exciting. This is, it's fine.
It's a big dummy.
Yeah, it's a big dork.
If you can give it unblockable, that's incredible.
Some kind of evasion.
Or just trample, or flying. Any kind of evasion would be great on this card.
Yeah, putting a blue flying aura on it. It's fine.
It's fine.
But now we know why the Eldrazi haven't never invaded Ravnica, because they're not.
Maybe they did and just nobody noticed.
Yeah, they're just kind of like medium-sized creatures.
It turns out this worm is bigger and tougher than the thing that's a whole island. It shows up, tries to tentacle around and annihilate things, and just the Ravnicans kind of just didn't notice. They were like, oh, there's something going on over there.
Yeah, it must be some weird Simic thing.
Meanwhile, they're like, oh shit, Rakdos is burning this part of the city. Ah.
Yeah, meanwhile, the Great Worm just picks Ulamog out of its teeth.
Right. Like coughs, and there's a bunch of Eldrazi spawn like trying to flee back to the moon or whatever. So yeah, if you're a few steps behind him in catching up, the next 3 expansion sets are all going to be set on the plane of Ravnica. That's right, we're going home, baby. It's been a little while, not that long of a while, but a little while since
5-6 years
back on the plane. More or less everyone, I think's kind of favorite plane. I want to say that everyone's favorite set is Innistrad.
Yeah, and everyone's favorite location.
Everyone's favorite venue is Ravnica. It's the venue that, like, I really feel like,
good libraries, good cafes.
Yeah, great. They've got Wi-Fi everywhere.
Yeah,
the whole place is a city.
An ecumenopolis.
But Ravnica, I think, is kind of like it's the set where it seemed like kind of Magic, I want to say art direction and like lore, communicated lore through the cards kind of really, there was a stride they hit there.
Well, I mean, the
players really resonate with Ravnica more than most planes.
The developers said that it was the first plane where they gave a strong identity to each of the color pairings.
Right.
And really decided that, no, this is not just kind of the shared mechanics that these color pairings have, but this is the identity that we want to push for players who play these colors.
So those are the Guilds of Ravnica. And in the storyline, they take the form of like an actual guild or a union or organization. Like an organization.
Kind of more like maybe a cyberpunk mega corporation that kind of, they exist in an uneasy detente, codified in the Guild Pact.
That's right. They are the rulers of Ravnica. The guilds are. They're the supreme powers.
Yeah, and some
but they aren't nations.
No,
right? They just all exist together in a big, maelstrom or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Azorius kind of manage the government bureaucracy, and the Izzet manage the infrastructure, and the Golgari are responsible for all the farmers.
That's right. Yeah, the Golgari feed the poor and house a lot of them as well.
Yeah, and then the Gruul kind of are responsible for everything that isn't currently inhabited, right?
They actually I think they pick up demolition contracts sometimes.
Yeah,
and like the Gruul actually break stuff for money.
Yeah, and Rakdos kind of handle all the artists and service workers. You go to a Rakdos Starbucks, apparently.
That's cool. I hadn't heard that, but that makes sense.
But the one thing I really enjoyed about Ravnica was that, like, the Rakdos and the Gruul were like, the boogeymen, right? The Gruul, who were the Red-Green Guild, lived out in the wilds, and they like pushing over all the constructions of civilization.
Right.
And the Rakdos were literally demon worshippers who would do human sacrifices.
Yeah.
And even those, like, you generously call them extremist views,
right?
Are all part of the Guild Pact. They're part of this whole situation, and they're also responsible for holding people down.
They have a set of responsibilities and things they have to take care of.
Yeah. So recently, as in yesterday, I believe,
Right.
the
On another great Magic
mechanics,
stream.
yeah, the mechanics for the 5 guilds appearing in Guilds of Ravnica, the next upcoming set, were discussed and revealed. And one of them, the Selesnya mechanic, the green-white mechanic, was Convoke, and this is a mechanic we've seen frequently before.
That's right.
It works. It's a good mechanic.
It's a great mechanic. This is the 3rd set that Convoke showed up at. The most recent one was M15, and the one before that, I think it's just the 3rd, anyways, was Ravnica City of Guilds. So that's the first Ravnica set. And so there's 10 guilds because there's 10 color pairs. And each time we've visited Ravnica, the developers and designers of Magic have like spread the guilds out over multiple sets. So in the first year that we visited the plane of Ravnica, we saw the Boros and the Dimir and the Selesnya and the Golgari together in the first set. And that's when we saw Convoke with the Selesnya. And in the second set, Guild Pact, we saw the Izzet and the Orzhov and the Simic. No, the Izzet, the Orzhov, and the Gruul. And then the third set, Dissension, we saw the Simic and the Azorius and the Rakdos.
Yeah.
But then, when we went to return to Ravnica, they changed their approach, and they gave us 5 sets in the first set, and 5 sets in the second set, and 10 sets in the third set.
Yeah, 10. Yeah, it was half the guilds in the first set, the other half in the second set, all guilds in the third set.
So with this set, they promised us 5 guilds, and we're going to talk about the 5 mechanics briefly, and then we assume we'll see the other 5 guilds in the second set in the winter.
And then the third set, which I believe is still unnamed,
we don't know yet.
Question marks.
Right.
I'm hoping to see a uprising against the guilds, led by the Gateless.
Maybe we'll see a whole bunch of colorless cards because the Eldrazi do show up after the Impervious Worm somehow decides to leave or gets replaced.
Calling Fall of Ravnica for spring 2019.
Yeah, the Gateless are they're another set, right? They have some organization.
Yeah, they kind of appeared everywhere, and like they would occasionally.
They're the trolls, right? Like
they're the people who don't belong to the guilds. And depending what source you go from, that's either a very large number of Ravnicans or a very small number of Ravnicans.
Right.
But
depending on if you get your information from the Azorius or not.
Yeah, there were rumblings in the previous Ravnica set that large numbers of like angels were defecting to the Gateless from the Orzhov in particular.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'm looking forward to see. I hope they make an appearance.
Yeah.
So what we have in Guilds of Ravnica is Selesnya, who are bringing the Convoke mechanic, which we are familiar with.
And it's great, by the way. Sure, we poo-pooed this 16/16 Indestructible Worm, doesn't have trample, but Convoke is an awesome mechanic. They're probably going to give us a new card that for Constructed that will have Convoke, and they might bring back Court of Calling, kind of the best Convoke card we've seen yet.
Well, like M15, or was it M13, M15?
M15.
15. That had like triplicate spirits and then the Village Bellringer, where when a creature entered the battlefield, you could untap it.
Right, so they could convoke multiple times. Yeah.
Which was fun. It
Midnight
was fun.
Guard. It's Midnight
Guard. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, that's okay.
Village Bellringer is a different card.
Untaps all your creatures. Also good.
Yeah.
And also good with Convoke. Bellringer lets you one time convoke all your dudes again, whereas Midnight Guard lets you keep convoking with Midnight Guard every time you get a creature out.
But then the Dimir have a mechanic that Alex and I have been looking forward to for a long time. We have, I think we're very unique in that we are the only people who ever thought of a mechanic like this, which is, what if Scry but went to the graveyard instead of on the bottom?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Cam and Alex, so you know.
Yeah.
So the internet knows, so the world knows. They're the 2 people who thought of this first. It was many days ago.
Yeah, massive brains
That's
going
right.
on over
and
here.
no one else on the planet, in case you were wondering, has ever thought of this idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just them.
Yeah, it was the unique circumstances
I didn't
of our
think of it.
massive brains. Anyway,
maybe.
the Dimir have a mechanic called Surveil. It's like Scry, but instead of on the bottom of your library, you put it in the graveyard.
Or you can keep it on top, like Scry.
Yes, or you can keep it on top. So that's just great. That's a great mechanic.
Yeah.
I love that mechanic.
And by the way, Alex and Cam both thought of this mechanic before it showed up on any of the Magic cards that you know it's already been on. Yeah, absolutely. Much before that. Okay, going on. We're also
very exciting.
So we're going to see, you've noticed the Selesnya and the Dimir are going to be in the set, just like in Ravnica City of Guilds. and also like in Return to Ravnica, both those sets.
Yes.
Both guilds know that.
Oh no, Demir and Demir was in Guild
Crash.
Pack.
Okay, so
or
we're
Guild
going to
Crash,
see
yes.
5. That's right. So
Yes.
already with the 2 guilds we talked about, we're going to see 5 sets, but they're not the same layout of sets. So we'll
Yes,
talk about that.
yeah, they've mixed it up. The Izzet are getting a mechanic called Jumpstart, which allows you to cast a spell from your graveyard, allows you to cast the card with Jumpstart from your graveyard if you discard another card.
And it can be any card?
Any card from your hand. Just discard a card from your hand. That will let you jumpstart something.
And
so
can you keep doing that?
No, because it exiles the spell when cast with Jumpstart. So you get, it's kind of like Flashback, maybe also useful to compare it to Retrace, although not as good as Retrace.
Well, it's
although
similar.
maybe more flexible.
Yeah, so Retrace demands, the most popular Retrace card is Raven's Crime. It's 1 black sorcery, just says target player discards a card, and then you may discard a land card and pay the casting cost to Retrace, which means to cast it again.
Yep.
But that doesn't exile the Retrace spell from your graveyard. You can keep doing that as much as you have lands. But with Jumpstart, you can discard any card. Maybe you can discard another Jumpstart card.
Maybe you got the Jumpstart card into your graveyard with Surveil.
Maybe.
I love this set already. As a blue player, this is exactly my kind of Melvin garbage.
Right, pretty excited to Grixis value people in the
just Grixis do nothing over and over and over again and go 0-3 and just like...
But see all of the cards and basically cast every spell in your deck every game, right?
Yeah. This speaks to me. This found a chord deep inside of me and plucked it.
He's been plucked, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So, okay, we have Convoke, we have Surveil, we have Jumpstart. We also have the Golgari mechanic, which is called...
Overgrowth?
Oh,
no? Sorry, what's it called?
Undergrowth. Which we don't know much about yet, but counts the number of creatures in your graveyard.
Oh.
Which also works with Surveil.
Right.
So Surveil, clearly the all-star mechanic here.
So it's sort of a more flexible version of Threshold, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I think the idea,
the
think
Undergrowth
the idea
cards,
is that it'll be like Undergrowth X.
Right, I see. So some mechanics do a specific thing, and that thing is applied evenly on every card that has the mechanic, like the ones we talked about, Jumpstart. Or Surveil will probably be like, it might be Surveil 2 or Surveil 3, like look, but it'll just be like look at the top number. And then other cards, it's like, well, it does a little bit of a different thing on each card it's on. So like Bloodthirst from the original Gruul is like that number of +1/+1 counters go on. So
I'm expecting Undergrowth would just be like, Undergrowth. This card gets +X for each creature in your graveyard, and it's like a 1/1 for 3.
But maybe
right?
there'll be
something
like draw
like
cards equal to the number of cards in your graveyard.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be a deal damage to a creature equal to the number of cards in your graveyard.
Yeah, a giant growth effect.
Yep. Yeah.
Right.
Just opponent discards cards is another one that could count how many cards are in the zone to determine how many cards.
So far, again, the Sultai and Grixis player in me is just like...
Surveil also likes this Undergrowth mechanic, obviously, because both, whether you end up in black-green or blue-red, if you're in blue-black, you'll be able to fuel those too.
So if you're a straight-up Dimir player, expect to have all of your cards stolen by the Izzet player and the Golgari player.
Yeah, just remember, the dream is always like, the other side of the coin from the reality, which is that if you can imagine doing like an A+B thing in draft, and that would be fun for you, remember that what will really happen is you will either find the A or the B, and like never the twain shall meet. They'll pass like ships in the night, and you will go with 3. That's what Cam and I are both so good at. But we've got one more guild that's showing up we should talk about.
Boros, their mechanic is called Mentor. And the way Mentor works is that when a creature with Mentor attacks, it puts a +1/+1 counter on another attacking creature you control whose power is less than the Mentor's power.
They probably test named it Mouthful, because that's a long ability.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those abilities where you're like, this has 400 words in the rules box, and then you just see it played once and you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, this is a very intuitive mechanic that makes sense for the Boros, who are like
they're the cops and army.
Yeah, the cops and army.
It's weird that they're the army of Ravnica, but it's like, okay, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, occasionally, like, I don't know, somebody's poisoning the watering hole, I guess, and you need to call out the army to deal with it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but if there's only one army on the planet, it's like, what do they do exactly?
Yeah, I never really got the difference between where the law enforcement branches of the Azorius and the Boros really met up. Right? Because the Azorius also have, like, cops.
Yes, they do, yeah. Well,
but I guess they're more like the law and order style, like, the Boros investigate the crimes where the Azorius prosecute.
Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah.
Anyway, those are all really great mechanics. I'm assuming we're going to see some kind of like blade. We've agreed that 3 ones in white for 2 are blades.
I'm glad that that's stuck. I'm stoked about that.
We're gonna make it happen because the
Boros have brought us all the best blades, haven't they? I mean, the Daring Skyjack was a really popular one in Gatecrash. One colorless and one white.
The Azorius had a very good blade with flying, but he was like not a blade really, because it was like 3 mana,
right?
Yeah,
oh yeah,
so
that Detain blade or Detain 3/1 flyer is great. So that's more like a Vendilion click, right? I don't know if we can call them clicks if they're 3/1 flyers, but that's Clique is definitely like the archetypical one that jumps to mind.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct. I am. Yeah, that was not even.
But
that was a weird brain thing.
But no, but there's another good. Isn't there another isn't there a ground 3/1 for 3 that's like a red and a white, and then it was also or maybe it got a 2nd point of toughness.
Maybe
there was a pretty high pick signal for Boros that was like red white in Gatecrash. I think it was
Halberdiers, Wojak Halberdiers.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. That's like attacks and gains first strike or something.
Yeah, I want to say Wojak Halberdiers.
Okay.
So I would expect, like, in the same way that we can look at the Dimir mechanic and quite easily see like a version of Opt that instead of Scry has Surveil.
Right.
And we can look at a card like Geist Flame and quite easily see a version of that that has Jumpstart.
Right.
I think we can quite easily look at something like a 3/1 Daring Skyjack for 1 and a white
with
that
Mentor.
has Mentor.
So
right?
Yeah,
that would buff your 2/2 to a 3/3.
Do you know if is it always just 1+1/+1 counter on one creature?
As far as I understand, I think that's the way it was discussed. I don't think it's Mentor X.
Value. Yeah.
There might be ones where it's like Mentor. I don't know. But
okay, yeah.
That way you could
all your creatures gain Mentor on an enchantment.
Ooh, right? Yeah.
With some mechanics, they give you like a catch-all. I've noticed that there's like it's like this cheaty thing or this like I'm not sure what it is, how they talk about them in development, but like sometimes they give us a card that's like, well, here's this mechanic, and we just like packaged it up for you, and it's on a global enchantment. You can just put it on anything you want. What's a good example? Like Proliferate. There's an enchantment that says whenever you cast a spell, proliferate, and there's like an enchantment that gives you. I think from the same set, there's an enchantment that gives all your creatures hexproof. So they sometimes do that, but sometimes they don't.
Yeah,
so I wonder if we'll see that for that.
You can't have a whole team of just mentors.
Hey,
right?
Yeah, I've been on that.
It's a university,
they're
right?
all going to mentor each other.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been in that research group at a university. It works. It actually works, and it's good for everyone.
Okay, we barely talked about it, but briefly, sorry. There's a product coming out as well, a supplemental product, the Ravnica Guild Kit.
Yes, and these have cards. They're 60 card decks,
and they're kind of like pick your guild, root for them.
Yeah,
wear your guild on your sleeve. Yeah,
and they have reprints from all they have cards included in them from all of the Ravnica blocks. So like the Izzet one is led by Niv Mizzet. Right. Or it includes a reprint of Niv Mizzet the Firemind with.
And that doesn't make these cards legal in Standard.
No, they're not legal in Standard, but it also has like all stars like Electrolyze.
Right.
In it, which
opportunity to pick up some of these good cards from the past.
Yeah, and see how I guess this is your opportunity to see how all the mechanics from all of the Ravnica sets kind of like interact with one another and really like play that guild.
I haven't gotten to open one of these up yet. They're not on the shelves yet or anything, but they also come with like a poster or a banner or something and a pin.
The pin might be, if the pin is the one that was offered at PAX,
then these might be like
the Return to Ravnica block.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've got...
Those are nice pins. I have the Izzet one.
Yeah, I've got the Izzet one and a Dimir one.
Sweet.
And yeah, they're
nice pins.
Just like nice enamel pins. So hopefully these are of the same quality. And then you'll get to wear that to your pre-release.
Yeah, or just to work or whatever. Yeah, wear to school because they just look good.
The Orzhov one is a totally like functional stealth piece of jewelry. It's just like the sun pin.
Yeah, for sure.
It's it's not understated by any stretch of the imagination, but it also doesn't.
It's not even obviously nerdy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's another product that's coming out. There's been a lot this year of like weird
Yeah.
products that don't necessarily contain standard
I
cards.
really feel like Wizards probably got like some money from Hasbro to do a lot of experimental products a couple of years ago, and they're
Yeah.
like, well, let's just try a bunch of things and see what works to expand our market share
Right.
and see if we can tap new markets. Like
Maybe
this is what it
that'll
feels
happen.
like. Somebody wrote a grant
Right,
to
right.
their publisher and got like a bunch of money to try a bunch of new weirdo products.
Do you think like if there's somebody, not necessarily a new player, but maybe somebody who hasn't been in the game for a while and looking to get back in, there's quite a few sort of pre-constructed options to jump in on now. Do you think like these guild kits would be a good jumping in point? Like as being like, I want at least a deck to like sort of start with and have some fun with?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Again, I think it really depends on what your friends want to do.
Yeah.
Right?
That question remains the same. Is just like, what kind of Magic do you want to play? Because there's so many different games. And
Yeah,
as
like,
soon as you can answer that, then you can find the right thing.
Because like if depending on what you want to do, right? Like if it's you and your friends going into a store and being like, you know what, we haven't played Magic in a long time. We should see what's up with Magic, and then maybe you want to pick up these guild sets and get back into it that way. But if you're just showing up at like F&M and are like, I want to give a tournament a shot.
If you did play tournaments and then you quit and you're coming
Yeah.
back, you probably know that you want to like get a tournament ready deck.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
same with Commander, right?
Yeah.
Like if that's what your friends are still doing, but then you move back to town and you want to find another Commander group, then you still just want to get a Commander deck, I think.
Yeah.
And by the way, those the guild kits, they're releasing 5 for the 5 guilds that are in Guilds of Ravnica, and then they'll be releasing another 5 for the Ravnica Allegiance.
Ravnica Allegiance is dropping probably in January, I guess.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But yeah, no, I'm really excited to go back to Ravnica. This is cool, and all these mechanics sound really fun.
Yeah,
and
the
as
mechanics
you
sound
mentioned, I'm really looking forward to all the times when I decide, like, I open a bomb Dimir card, get really excited, and get cut by a Golgari player to my right who's like, well, Surveil just powers my
I'm just
my
splashing all
undergrowth.
your ops to feel.
Yeah, they take
my
all
undergrowth cards.
all of your black Surveil cards, and then the Izzet player to your right takes all of your blue Surveil cards in pack 2, and you're just like,
Maybe that's going to be the joke. Maybe like, in 8 players, there's going to be 4 players of each of the guilds that are present in Ravnica, because Dimir is like, they have this history of being like the Shadow
secret,
Guild, right? Like broadcasting from Duskmantle House of Shadow, which doesn't exist.
yeah,
know?
never has existed.
Yeah,
in
and
fact.
that might be the truth of the like Dimir draft archetype.
Yeah, it's
Just
like
be
you
like
have this-
everyone cuts it. Right?
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
So it actually works out just everyone really likes Dimir.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, come out of the shadows. We all want to hang out with
Hey,
you.
the Dimir provide a useful service that everyone takes advantage of, which I think is the only reason why they tolerate the existence of a guild exclusively made up of spies, saboteurs, and assassins.
Yeah.
Which you think would be the kind of organization that all other 9 entities on the plane would be like, we should kill these people.
Yeah, we should just do away with those people.
Like,
It's
why do we have them? And it's like,
Yeah.
they're just useful enough.
At the guild meeting, it's always like, all right, who took the stuff out of the fridge? And everyone just looks over
Yeah,
at the
they'll just,
Dimir
like, look at-
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looks
Oh,
over at
of course.
Lazov's. Yeah, it's like,
Well, imagine what it's like at the only Dimir, guild meetups. Like they're just playing werewolf constantly, right? Like
Yeah.
who's gonna sabotage who inside this group of assassins and thieves, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
well, I think we should wrap up there.
We should.
So
that's what's
this,
happening with TTC lately.
Yeah. Well, I had a lot of fun. Anyway, this podcast is brought to you by the fine people over at cardkingdom.com. Cardkingdom.com, a veritable kingdom of cards, as Kathleen refers to them. Online retailer, go to them for all of your single needs. They will ship them very quickly. They have good prices. And if you're in the continental United States, or in the United States at all, you can buy sealed product from them. And if you are in Seattle, please consider visiting their brick and mortar stores. They are very, very nice places. They're clean, well-lighted places to combo out. And if you go to cardkingdom.com/LRR, that enters our affiliate code. It lets them know that we sent you. And if you put in the special request field at the end of your order, Loading Ready Run Sent Me button, please, they will send you a little 1-inch button that we have written and designed. Right now, there should be a brace of 3 of them, a group of 3 of them, of which you will receive one of which reads, Top Deck Lethal. And the other reads, Who Dares Bargle with Yargle? And the third of which I don't remember right now. So
we only
support
have
them.
enough space in our brain for 2 pins.
Yeah, I hit my threshold. If I learn what the third pin is, I'm going to forget how to drive. Also, this podcast is brought to you by you, the viewer, over at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. None of this would be possible without your very kind support of us. So we are eternally grateful to you, and thank you very much.
Thanks.
I've been Cameron.
I'm Nelson.
Peace.